What's up, YouTube? Hope everything is well. Today I want to talk about the World Cup effect and how can this impact the soccer card market, knowing that of course it's super difficult to predict the short term and the World Cup is in November, so things can be totally different than what I expect now. If you end up enjoying this video, please do not forget to leave a like, means a lot to me and is honestly the best way to support my work. So don't forget the like, and if you are a new viewer, consider also to subscribe to the channel. Let's move on into the disclaimer. Will be a short one, but a very important one. No financial advice. Always do your own research. No one can predict the market. Fundamentals are your best friend in the long run, and I think this market is a very good example of that. Keep in mind that I'm a collector first and an investor second, so I assess value, then I go for price. Any card I will show on this video or any video I can eventually be buying or selling. On the description you can find a eBay affiliate link that supports the channel, also a Patreon link, so any type of support, thank you so much for that. English is not my main language, any types of mispronunciations, I'm sorry. So, let's start looking at some data, knowing that again things are super difficult to predict. But in this case, this is real data that I think can give us a perception of what's going on. So, what is the World Cup effect? I mean, we are already, I would say, in June, and there is not a lot of talk about the World Cup. A lot of, let's say, people outside of the soccer card market, they are speculating in Marvel, in Star Wars, in F1, but the hype for soccer seems that is not there yet, and honestly surprises me a little bit that a lot of flippers are not looking at soccer right now. I think soccer is an amazing opportunity, even if you are a flipper, not the way I approach the market, of course, but surprises me a little bit. So this is the first image that you guys are seeing on the screen shows is basically a trend for Google searches saying World Cup. And as you can see, we are actually at the low of the low in the last, we are at the lowest point, better saying, in terms of Google search for World Cup in the last 12 months. Which again, understanding that people that search World Cup is not exactly the people that invest in the market, but of course there will be a crossover, even if it's not super relevant. But this should put in perspective that, yeah, for some reason, especially in America right now, and guess what, the trend is actually very similar, even if you put in European countries. But this shows that, yeah, the interesting is not there at this point. And again, I tend to say markets are irrational, and I think this is a good example of that. If you want again to speculate in the World Cup, I think now could be a very interesting time to be looking at soccer cards. Like I say, no financial advice in the end, but yeah, people love to buy at the top. But when things are at the bottom, even in terms of interesting, is when you should basically look twice for opportunities. So below that image there is another one that I also think is quite interesting. I end up talking about this on my Patreon already, I believe a couple of weeks ago. So as you can see, this is the basically this is from 2004 until today, and shows the interesting on the World Cup in America. And as you can see, World Cup 2006 huge spike, same for 2010. 2014 was the biggest spike of all of them. I think being in Brazil was honestly a big deal, but still a super strong spike in 2018. And I put soon on that on that image because I think around or probably around October, November, we will see a similar spike. I mean, you don't need to be a genius to predict this type of thing, but around October, December, again, the spike should happen in terms of searches. And if you are again playing the short term on the market, that potentially could be a good time to try to move certain cards to find a nice exit point. So November, for logic reasons, will be the peak because the World Cup will be in full force in November. So November, December. So moving on, World Cup in November. Basically, we got lucky. This is honestly something that I've been asking myself quite a lot. First of all, of course, not sure. I'm 100% confident about the future of the soccer card market long run. Predicting short term gets really difficult, and the state of the market will always be more important than the event. So even if there will be a spike in terms of Google search for World Cup cards, World Cup in general, that does not mean that a lot of cards will see an increase in price. Maybe the market will be so down at the time that guess what, the new demand is not enough to move prices. That's a scenario that I think we all should be aware. Do I think that's the most likely scenario? That's a different conversation. But again, predicting short term is insanely difficult, and even predicting demand is also insanely difficult. So honestly, I'm happy that the World Cup is not now. I mean, thank God it's not now. Again, the crypto market is not doing well. Actually, yesterday the crypto market did well, and even the SP 500 in the last, I believe, 5 days or 4 days, something like that, have been doing. In the last week, I've been doing pretty decent, but in general, there is a lot of fear in the market right now, and I think the World Cup not being basically in the next couple of days, because in a normal situation that would be the case, is a good thing for us. So we may got likely that the World Cup is actually on November and not now. What I mean with this, look, can the economy be better in November? Again, no idea. I will not even try to go that route saying no, you know what, recession will not be a thing in November. No one knows that type of stuff. But one thing that we can say is I think fear levels right now are at all-time highs, and there is a scenario at least that in 5 months the feeling on the market can be quite different, and the way people look at markets changes very quick. Like I was saying, look, in the last month, the stock card market was a bloodbath. The crypto market, same thing. Look, in the last couple of days, things are changing a little bit. Could be a trap, of course. That's a likely scenario, I would say. But in the other hand, again, feelings on the market they change so fast, and maybe in November things can actually be better than they are right now. At least when you put in perspective fear levels on the stock market, on the crypto market, on the card market, they seem at all-time highs. So being positive can actually make sense if you are speculating for the World Cup in November. So another crucial thing will another crucial thing will be the state of the grading game. Look, recently BGS already ended up opening all servers. They are still quite low in terms of turnaround times, quite high, better saying actually. PSA predicts that will be full force at the end of, I believe, September, something like that, but let's say at the end of the year. So that automatic makes me believe that we can see an increase of cash flow in the hobby. Look, I know a lot of you guys are in this situation. I have a lot of cars that I can only grade if the grading cost is $12, $10. Otherwise, I will never grade those cards. And I suspect a lot of you guys listening to this are uh, basically feeling, yeah, you know what, I'm also in a similar position. So if I start grading all my bulk, or bulk is always a weird term, but let's say things that I cannot justify to buy at $50 or even at $25 on SEC, but I can justify grading at $10, look, I will have a bigger cash flow on my side, in the sense that, look, if I start grading bulk, if PSA is turning around bulk in 3 months to 2 months, even maybe let's say even 5 months, that will be amazing for me, because I can keep buying selling, and I think a lot of people are in this situation. The cash flow is quite weird right now, in the sense that, look, a lot of people, the way they end up approaching the market, and by the way, is a great way to approach the market, is this: they buy a couple of raw cards, they grade it, they make a profit. They buy a couple of raw cards, I'm talking about more about bulk, of course, they grade it, they make profit. Right now is not easy at all. PSA being the king in the grading game, basically is not favoring those type of guys, and I believe believe the cash flow in the hobby can actually increase quite a lot. Even if you put in perspective entering breaks and stuff like that, a lot of people end up doing that. Look, I enter a break, I get a nice card, I send to PSA. Maybe I can afford another break now, even if I lose some money. But at least there is a chain of money. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I think that's important. That's one of the reasons, at least one of the reasons that I believe that the card market is not doing very well, knowing that there is still things doing well. In a macro perspective, I think PSA opening the bulk service, BGS also being a little bit faster, SGC also lowering, putting prices around $50, $20, that will be great for the market. And I believe in November we can potentially be at that point. So all of those things, again, the economy potential, not the economy, but at least the fear levels being different, the grading game being quite different, this can actually be amazing for the soccer card market around World Cup. So even if modern product is something I do not care that much, and I guess you guys are aware of that, I think it's crucial for Panini to have Prism World Cup 2022 out before the World Cup starts. Sadly, there is a lot of chain supplies issues right now. But again, who knows how things will be in 5 months from now. I'm still optimistic that they will still release the product before the World Cup, and I think that's honestly quite crucial. One thing that we are seeing in other markets is, for example, the Prism WWE. Again, I don't even follow WWE, but we see a lot of people talking about that. We saw a lot of people talking about Prism UFC, and I think soccer will be no exceptions. There is a group of people in the market that they navigate from from hot market to another hot market. F1 Top Scrum was quite hot in the market. It's still hot in the market. Then people went to Marvel. Then people went to again, I don't know, Star Wars, etc. And now, not now. In the future, I can see a similar thing happening to the Prism 2022, and of course that automatic will bring more money to soccer. Even if they are targeting ultra modern, there will always be a trickle down effect. There will always be people that they stay on the market. Basically, they, you know what, I started with this set. But guess what? Messi have nice cards on 2004. Let me take a look, or maybe let me take a look at the first Prism ever in soccer. So there will be a trickle down effect. Now I will talk about what you should be doing right now in the market, or at least the way I'm approaching the market. But before I go into that, let me say one thing. I have a Patreon community and I have a Discord community. The Patreon community, I put a lot of content there. You need to pay around $10 per month. Is a good way to support my channel, of course, but I try to provide value on the Patreon side. I put a new Q&A every Wednesday, so if you have questions, if you want to talk about the state of the market, etc., joining my Patreon community is the best way to do it, basically. And I also put the extra audio, you can call it a podcast, on Saturday. So as you can see, a lot of content. This is not one one time amount, is actually every week. So anyone joining the Patreon will be able to ask me questions, and in the last couple of months end up answering more than 300 questions, which is quite crazy to think about. I will leave the link below the video, so if you want to join my Patreon, check the link on the description. Like I was saying, it's $10. Again, I think I provide enough value to justify that $10, but $10 can be a lot of money for you, and if that's the case, totally fine with that. Do not join the Patreon, but one thing you should join is my Discord community. Why? Because it's totally free. We are more than 500 members, and I think it's an amazing place to learn about the soccer card market, to basically meet other collectors in the soccer card market. Basically, I say this all the time. It's an amazing place to learn and share. So check also the link below the video. I'll leave both links. Like I said, Patreon is $10, but Discord is totally free. So check the links below the video. Moving on to the topic I was talking a couple of minutes ago, what we should do right now. So the same old same. What I mean with this, keep buying, keep selling. Do not try to predict the market. Instead, enjoy all markets. Dollar cost averaging. This is a basic concept that most people are not even aware, but you need to be aware of this. You need to be buying and selling all the time. Of course, certain times in the market, they will be a little bit better to be selling. Again, if you see there is a mania on the market, yes, I also sold more at the peak of the market. Not that I was trying to predict the market, but since I'm in the market for so long, I end up understanding that cycle a little bit better than the market in general. So I sold more and I bought less at the peak, but I also bought at the peak, and I will go into that a little bit later. So if you are expecting to invest a lot of money because of the World Cup hype, you are already doing things wrong. Honestly, this is what I believe. I think it's fine to be aware of a potentially good exit point if things get crazy, if there is a mania around the World Cup, if there is a mania in the soccer card market. I think it's important to be aware of that. I think speculating on that can even make some sense. But if you are entering the soccer card market right now, or if you are staying in the soccer card market right now just because of that, you are doing things very, very wrong. Again, I think it's important to be aware that a new wave of flippers, a new wave of collectors, a new wave of money can be entering the soccer card market. But again, play the long game. I honestly believe is the only way possible to have success in the long run. And I know some people do not agree with me. Some people say, no, you know what, I flip and I make a lot of money. Good for you. I found that extreme difficult, like a long run. So I think what I do, value investing, playing the long game, is actually easier that a lot of those flippers do. I admire them to certain point because I think it's so difficult to time the market. And if you are speculating in a new kid, to certain point you need to time the market. You need to have a good entry point and you need to have a good exit point. Again, not saying if you are value investing, this is irrelevant. Of course, it's relevant. But again, apply the same logic. Buy things with great value for the long run. If the market does not react well in November around the World Cup time, you will still be holding things that you believe, and that's crucial. In the end, no problem at all if your prediction ends up failing. So, you guys are seeing a Cristiano Ronaldo second year card for. At United versus a Bellingham out of 99 card, actually auto card, a rookie card for Bellingham. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the best players ever. You can make an argument that Cristiano Ronaldo is the GOAT. Not saying that's what I believe, but he's one of the GOATs. Versus Bellingham, a new kid in the market, super talented, of course, amazing prospect. But again, the prices for both I forget to actually put on the screen, but end up being very similar. I believe around 1.5k. Don't quote me on this, but the idea is more important than the exact numbers. So think about this. If you are speculating for the World Cup, what is the card that can give you the best return if the best scenario goes on? Of course, will be Bellingham because, again, Bellingham could be the next big guy. Bellingham could be the next GOAT in the market. And Cristiano Ronaldo, we already are aware of that. But let's say the plan fails. Let's say Bellingham plays awful, or even the state of the market is so bad that even if Bellingham plays very well, that does not move his cards at all. What will be the card that will be more okay holding, the Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks or the top scrum for Bellingham? I think the answer is quite easy, right? The Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks, in terms of long, if you are long in soccer, makes way more sense. If you are speculating on new kids like Bellingham, again, do I think Bellingham is an amazing player? Of course. Do I think Bellingham can be irrelevant 2 years from now? I also think that's a likely scenario. So if your plan fails, let's say the World Cup effect is not even real, or at least, like I was saying, the market is so bad, there is so much fear around the world with the war, with recession, inflation, etc. That card can be a problem for you, the Bellingham card. But the Cristiano Ronaldo card, if you are playing the long game, I think is a nice card to be holding. So apply the same logic. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself today, but I think this is honestly quite important. Is a very important message to pass out. Basically, if your plan does not work, be holding things that you still believe. And the top scrum, again, I say this all the time. You don't value investing in new kids. There is no value investing on a guy like Bellingham. Why? Because again, history is not in your side in this type of kids. Normally, most of them tend to fail. Cristiano Ronaldo already one of the goats. If you believe in the soccer card market, if again, and that's a big if, but that's a question you should ask yourself. If you believe in the soccer card market, I think it makes a lot of sense to believe in the Pelé market, in the Cristiano Ronaldo market, Maradona market, etc. Why? Because they are already GOAT level. Of course, Messi also in that conversation. Even if you believe in the long run of the soccer card market, there is a chance that Jude Bellingham is an awful buy right now long run. Why? Because even if the market keeps growing, growing, and growing, if Bellingham does not perform, the price in effect is already so strong on a player like him that even if the market does very well, there is a scenario you are doing very bad. So in the end, if your prediction fails, be holding things that you believe for the long run. If your strategy is more around, again, I will repeat myself, but whatever. If your strategy is more around prospecting the next big thing, be aware at least that that's an insane, dangerous game and actually more difficult than value investing. If you are left holding the bag, this is the expression that you guys love to use in America, at least be hold a nice bag. And I think this bag, Cristiano Ronaldo, is a better bag than that one. So my 2 cents on this, be aware of this type of stuff. Final ideas. If you are a collector, someone that is long in soccer, the market right now is in an amazing place. I'm buying a lot, but I'm also selling because for me having this cash flow is very important. But again, if you are a collector, the markets right now, in my perspective, do not get much better than this. A lot of credit cards are now easier to obtain, and the value slash basic fundamentals of them stays insanely strong. So Zidane rookie, Panini Foot 92, that card is facing a huge correction. Do I think that card is still amazing? Yes, that card is still quite difficult to obtain. I think Zidane is maybe not GOAT level, but very close to that. I think he's a key player on the pre-modern era. At one point in time, that card was going bananas. Right now, there is a huge correction, let's say for mid grades at least, and even high grades. What ended up changing? Basically, is the perception of the market. Fundamentals, the real value of the card, in my perspective, stays quite strong. So, if you believe in the soccer card market long run, that's the type of card you should take a look. I'm using Zidane, but again, you can apply the same logic in a bunch of other players. I just picked Zidane because I think it is a nice example. You create amazing collections now. I'm going to say this again. You create amazing collections slash positions in the market if you are just investing right now. There is a famous quote that I actually say this a lot of times in this channel. You make money in bear markets. You take profit in bull markets. Understanding this is crucial. If you believe in the market, does not matter when you buy. If you are buying great cards, okay, but this is the key thing. Trying to time the market, first of all, really difficult. But you don't need to do it if you believe in the long run of the market. Let's say you are buying, I don't know. Again, let's say Zidane again for 2K. Well, next month will be 1K. That's a scenario that you need to be aware, of course. But if you are playing the long run, and if you predict that card could be 5K, 10K, do you think matters that much if you buy for 10% less, 20% more? I mean, is irrelevant being real if you are playing the long game, of course. And look, as long you assess the price, as long you are paying around comps at the time, of course, don't overpay for things. That's basic knowledge. But trying to time the market is honestly, to a certain point, like I was saying, we all try to time the market. But be aware that if you are playing the long game, that's not super crucial in your decision, in my perspectives. Okay, so since I do, I'm sorry, I put believe for some reason. Since I do believe a lot in the soccer card market long run, I will always be buying at the top and at the bottom. Why? Because I'm not leaving the market. So, look, even if there is a crazy money in soccer in 5 months from now, I know I will still be buying because that's how I approach the market. You know what? Again, maybe I will be buying a little bit less. That's a different conversation. Of course, that most likely will be the case because I already understand cycles in the market since I've been collecting for so many years. I'm not even talking only about soccer, of course. So, again, but I will still be buying at the top. There is no doubt about that because I'm buying all the time and I'm selling all the time. So the chance that I get caught at the top for certain cards will be huge. But I think that's fine because I believe in the long run of the market. And with that in mind, with the dollar cost average, I will also be buying at the bottom or close to that. Okay, so things end up playing out very well as long you keep buying things with great value. So with time, you start to understand cycles much better. For a lot of people, this is the first time they are experiencing a bear market. Don't get too scared, honestly. Markets, they work this way all the time. And if you play the long run, I have good news and bad news for you. Most likely you'll see another bull run and most likely you'll see another crash, another correction. So be aware of that. Understanding cycles tends to be quite crucial. Repeating myself, but this will be my final idea. If you cannot buy right now, try to add value to your collection in a different way. Knowledge takes time but is free. Grind the market, stay focused. Again, like I said in one of my last videos, maybe cash is not a thing basically you cannot buy cards right now. And again, do not do it. Cards are a super speculative asset. You should only invest money that you are okay losing, money that you are okay understanding that can go down quite a lot. That there is a lot of volatility in cards. Be aware of that. But one thing that is totally free is actually grinding the market, is actually educating yourself. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but think about this: if you are starting, if you want to enter the Zidane market, the Messi market, the Maradona market, maybe you do not have money right now, but one day when you can actually invest, I think it's important to have knowledge because even if you have a lot of money in 5 months from now, 4 months from now, if you have zero knowledge about the card market, good scenario that you will make awful buys. Good scenario that you end up, let's say, 1K in $100. That's a scenario that you need to be aware. But if you have knowledge, you can make the opposite. Maybe you can maybe you can make $100 into 1K, not vice versa. Okay, so be aware of this, grind the market, and my final idea will always be very, very similar to this. Stay focused. Conclusion, guys. Collect things you love, prices that you pay, values that you get. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, I always like to talk about the state of the market, trying to predict this World Cup effect is crazy land, okay? Because in the end, who knows how the market will be around World Cup time. But mm, my idea, and this is actually the key thing on this video, is makes sense to not that makes sense, but I understand if you want to speculate for the World Cup. But speculating things that you are okay holding if your plan does not work. Because that way is almost a win-win situation for you. You know what? Again, I bought the Zidane cards. The market they end up not growing the way I expected. There is so much fear around the stock market, etc. Wall Street is a bloodbath again. But guess what? My card was 1K, right now is $500, but I'm not selling. Okay, I'm okay holding this card long run. I believe one day will be way more than my entry point. Be in that position. If you are again speculating in new kits, that's when things get really really tricky. And again, Bellingham, Pedri, whatever the case, they are the best prospects right now in the world. 1 year from now, 5 months from now, maybe they are not, and you need to be aware of this. So have a nice day. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Please check both links on the description, and again, don't forget to leave a like.